So this is our third huddle, I believe, so far. I think so. And tonight we've got my lovely teammate Jenny Clark with me too. And we are coming to talk to you about networking, but doing it scared and doing it authentically. And when I thought of this topic, the first person that jumped into my mind was Jenny, which we will come into why that was as the night goes on. But Jenny, you've been with us since November, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So Jenny joined us in November, and I have loved working with Jenny ever since. She's really sort of lit a fire in my stomach. I mean, it never died. You know, you guys who know me know what I'm like, but she's really, really inspired me to be more creative and to be more brave in the way I network. And I think it's just really helpful to hear from different people. That's why we thought we'd do it together and people who are at different stages in the business. So, as we said, we're talking about networking tonight and doing it scared. And networking is the lifeblood of your business. If you stop doing that, your business eventually will die. If you start and you hit the ground running and it's amazing, which I'm sure lots of us have done, and it's so exciting, and then 6 months, a year in, sometimes maybe a little bit longer, it starts to feel a little bit harder for a bit. And it's normally where it gets really hard is when people have stopped networking. So they've stopped doing the basics, they've stopped constantly having eyes out, arrows out. How do I find new people? And the key to it really is to keep your business, the lifeblood of your business going, is to always act like you're a consultant within your first 6 months, I would say, to always be thinking about how can I branch out? How can I get new people? And I think most of you know that. We're not going to go over anything new tonight. You'll have all heard that if you've been here before. But it's not always easy, is it? You can sit on these trainings and people can say you need to network, you need to find new customers, you need to meet new people. But actually, if you're really bloody scared, it's hard. It's really hard. And I think we all go through different points in our life where it's maybe easier to put those big girl pants on and overcome that fear. And then we have other points where there's different things in our bucket, different things in life sort of add into our stress bucket, and maybe it gets a bit harder for a period. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And it's really easy to look at experienced consultants, which is why I really wanted Jenny to come on with me tonight. It's really, really easy to look at experienced consultants, people who've been here a lot longer, maybe leaders, and think, oh, it must be easy for them. And I did that too. Before Lisa and Laura became my friends, before I really knew who they were, because Laura wasn't my sponsor to begin, I did show up to all the trainings at first and think, but that's probably a bit easier for them than it is for me because, and that is human nature. That is your brain doing its job because you are considering doing something that's a bit scary, a bit out your comfort zone, and your brain's job is to protect you from that. So it starts thinking, it's probably easier for them because maybe you shouldn't do this because. So I'm going to really quickly sort of go over who I am, what I'm about. Most of you maybe know or have heard it before, so I won't keep you long, and then we're going to hand over to Jenny. So I've been with Senti for 5 years now, and I am a director, and Jenny's one of my lovely teamies. I absolutely love Senti. I do it alongside a full-time job, a mum of three, and then I've got lots of other commitments within my local community where I volunteer and things like that. And I met Jenny doing one of my favourite things in Senti, which is a party. Jenny was a customer at a party, and you bought some bits for you. You was planning to move,
Moving.
weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So you was planning to move and you bought some bits. And I did the usual things. I followed up with Jenny a few times after that, and I did not hear a bloody thing. She was a right ghosty ghost. Um for ages, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, yeah, because that was like October time and I didn't move to the April. So it was like
Yeah.
6 months. Yeah.
And I could have got the hump. I could have got in my own head. I could have thought, oh, like maybe she never wants to hear from me. Maybe she doesn't like the products. Maybe I'm offending her. I could have had all the reasons for that to make me feel a little bit nervous, but I just periodically checked in. And then I came to find out it was because you'd not moved and you'd not actually tried to Tennessee. And then when you did, she was hooked and she was
That's
buying
it.
more and more. And then we had a chat and she had a WhatsApp party. And then the rest, well, no, the rest wasn't history. I asked her to join after a WhatsApp party and she refused. And then she
I
did
was
it.
tough, wasn't I? I was a tough one to crack.
Well, it shows its way of sort of following up and persevering and not getting in your own head about things. So, do you want to tell everyone who
Yeah.
you are, Jenny?
Yeah. So, like Katrina said, I'm Jenny, and I hadn't really had much sensei before Katrina's party. And the funny thing was, the party was Katrina's mum, and she'd invited loads of people, and they all let her down at the last minute, and there was just
Yeah.
three of us. And her mum had done the most amazing spread of food, and Katrina's mum is just lovely. So we were all thinking, oh no, poor Katrina's mum. So probably that was one of the reasons I bought something, because her mum was so lovely, and she was my daughter's tutor, and she'd just been amazing for her. But I decided, yes, I think I bought a Christmas present for somebody and something that I wanted to keep, because I had Scentsy, but I'd not kept up with it. Someone had bought me it as a present, and that was it. But I thought it was one of the first things I put in my new house box. But then we didn't move for 6 months. So like Katrina said, but I think from the off, I did follow Katrina in her Facebook group. So I kind of could see what was going on, and was watching silently. And then once I moved, and then I think this was one of the reasons everything happened for me, because I'm going to be turning 50. So I'm in that crucial year of life, probably menopausal, all of those things. And 2025 was a tough year for me personally. Moving house even was tough, even though I wanted to do it, but after 20 years. So I think when it came to the point of Katrina sort of asking me, I've got teenagers, they're at a point, they're 18 and 14, I'm not running around after them anymore. I was in a bit of a point in my life thinking, what am I doing? And I'd seen everything that Katrina was doing on her group, thought, I can never do that. But actually, I probably need something for me. And I think what I've loved about it is I know I have changed as a person. So I am very different. But I think what I love about it is I'm a teacher by day, and I run an autism outreach service. So for me, sitting on doing this isn't too bad, because I train in neurodiversity and things like that. But this is out of my comfort zone because Sense is so new to me. But what I've loved is learning business, because I work in education. Katrina's probably a little bit like me. Business is like, what? I don't understand that. I need to be trying to make money and doing things like that. It's very different. And I love the things it's taught me about social media, that yes, I've always done a little bit, but I'm learning new things. And that's where my teenagers come in a little bit. They'll sometimes be embarrassed by my social media, but also sometimes help me with it. And I also love the chat that I get with people. So I have reconnected with people through Sensei, as well as meeting new people, consultants and new customers. There's people that I was sort of friends with on social media, but not as connected with. My workplace is fabulous, but I don't spend much time there because I go out into other schools. But I've got so many customers now at the school that I'm based. So now, even when I'm in school, my team will be like, Jenny, you're always chatting. But that's because I've connected through Sensei, and they're such good customers. So it's brought, and a big thing for me, 2025, I lost a lot of weight. So for me, this keeps me busy and stops me eating. In the evenings, if I'm creating social media posts, my hands are busy. So I'm not dipping in for food and things. So I'm hoping it will help me maintain my weight loss. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That could be a marketing.
Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I? How to keep your weight, how to maintain your weight, become a Sensei consultant. Yeah, I haven't done that. I've tried menopause, but I'll try that one next.
I love that. But that is where, and we're going to lead on to the authenticity, because Jenny is really authentic in the way she shares, and that is why people, I think, are really gravitating with her. She's not um over relying on like copying other people's things and stuff. You're taking inspiration, but then you're finding your way to do it at you, and being really authentic. And you did have a lot of areas that you were not comfortable with, and you've found ways around it, or said, no, actually, that's just not me. That's not how I'm going to run my business. And that is what's really important. So we were thinking about confidence leading into this. And confidence, you'll have heard these things before, but there's nothing wrong with hearing them again, because it's like you've got to drip feed things into your brain. And confidence usually comes after you take the scary action. Well, it always does. It doesn't come before. It's very rare you think of something you've not done before, or something that's a bit out the norm, and think, oh, I'm really confident. I'm just going to go full hell for leather and do that. I'm certainly not that. From being a very small child, have been very risk averse, like very risk averse. I remember from being really tiny, I can see risk and danger in everything. And it's probably why I'm a safeguarding lead, because I can see the far end of a potential risk. So I'm very accustomed, or Sensi has made me become accustomed to feeling the fear and doing it anyway, I suppose. So I want you guys in the chat to share something you have never done for your business, or you know you don't do enough of because you're scared. So whilst you're popping them in, I'll just ramble on a little bit longer. But you obviously don't need to be fearless talking to people. Thank you for that, Ray Ray. And I think that is a huge one. And people struggle to believe that one of me, but that is a difficult one for me. I don't know why I struggle to talk face to face to strangers about Sensi. I still do. 5 years in, I push myself and make myself do it, but sometimes I plan how I'm going to do it, and then I rehearse the conversation of what I'm going to say to the lady behind the counter, and I just walk straight on out. Still, hands up, I still do that with the holding on to the sample in my pocket, but I do push through it. I'm trying to do it more and more and more. So and that is why, for me, like Jenny was saying, what she loves about Sensi, for me, that is why I'm a Sensi lifer. You'll never see me walk away from Sensi. I truly believe that in my core, because it has changed who I am as a person, and it has actually given me freedom as a person to be myself. I'm not talking about time freedom, because I still do my full-time job because I love it, but it has given me freedom, and I have worked on myself and allowed myself and given myself permission for the first time in my life to be authentically myself, which is much more of a car crash than anybody ever realized, as Lisa mentioned on my birthday thing. I am very organized, but I'm a walking contradiction. I am a car crash. I am clumsy. I am scatty. But I used to hide all those parts of me and just try and be this perfect organized person, and Sensi's taught me it's okay to be both. Look, Lisa said she loves it. She's my soul sister. So I'm just going to quickly look at what some of the things people are saying they don't do enough of or don't do for their business. So we have got talking to people, going live. Lisa's never been live, going live, talking to new people about the business, follow up, you hate it, feels really pushy. You don't show enough of yourself, talking to people that can lead into Sensi, struggle with just asking people to join. It's my biggest barrier. I'm going to come on to that one, Zoe. So for me personally, some of the things that I've really struggled with, as I said, speaking to people face to face, and I do make myself do it, but it's not always the easiest. But for me, it used to, which people will find surprising because I've got quite a large team now. But for me, it was asking people to join. It used to cripple me to the point where when I decided I really wanted to grow a team, I used to send like 3 messages and then put my phone in the drawer upstairs and go downstairs and clean, or just like hide from my phone. And if I'd look at my phone and somebody had replied, I didn't want to open the message. And I think people find that hard to believe if somebody who's gone on to become a director, but that is how it made me feel. Like I wanted the world to swallow me up when they'd replied. Whereas now, if somebody replied, I'm like, I've got to reply. I've got to reply. What's it going to say? And the key to it was doing it and realizing nothing terrible happened. Nobody has ever said to me, you have offended me for asking me that. I am really cross with you. I think you're a terrible person. Nobody's ever said that. They might have ignored me. What's the end of that? Jenny ignored me and I didn't know why.
I feel bad now. I feel really bad.
But they might have ignored me, or they've said, not for me, or thank you for thinking of me, but no thank you. When I flipped my mindset of 1, nothing terrible happens, and 2, actually, I'm offering them, we both sat here and said, this has made us feel happier. This has made us feel like we show up in other areas of our life better. It's improved our mental health. We feel better about ourselves. So you don't need to be scared to ask somebody else if they want to do that, to ask somebody else if they think it could make their life a bit better. And it's just sort of flipping your mindset and being, thinking to yourself, what is it you're scared of? So if you're scared of going live, what is it that's making you scared? Or who is it? Because for me, it was who. It was who was going to watch it. And then when you dig a little bit deeper, but who out of the potential people on my Facebook that could see that, who was it that was bothering me if they watched it, if they saw it? And you know what? For me, it might just be me. It was always somebody really insignificant. Somebody I have not seen since school. And we weren't particularly friends. So why are they even my friend on my Facebook? Like, so I could have a work on not being bothered about their opinion, oh, they don't need to be on my Facebook. I can just remove them and start doing the things that are it's bothering me. And it's when you think of it that way and then think to yourself, but actually, who should I care about? So I'm worried about going live because Joe blogs who weren't very nice to me at secondary school might watch it. But I'm doing Sensei because I want more money for my family. So whose opinion should matter? That's the way I started forming it in my head, and it really, really, really changed it for me. So I know when Jenny joined, we joke about this now, don't we, Jenny? But I did think to myself, what is this woman actually going to do? Because you
You
said,
didn't tell me that. You were like, you can do this. You didn't say, I don't know what she's going to do.
no, I did think you could do this, but then you said to me, I'm not taking a selfie. I'm not going live. I won't do a party. I don't want to message people direct about it. And I thought, well, she's going to struggle. But you've overcome all those things. Jenny's like, I know you panic every month when we reset to zero, but Jenny's always over 1,000. She always parties every month. So do you just want to share a bit about how you've actually pushed those comfort zones and how it's felt for you?
Yeah. And I think a big thing for me was Growth Academy. And I can't come on here as a new consultant and not mention Growth Academy. And I think for me, I am a rule follower. I am someone who follows the rules. So if I'm set homework, I have to do the homework. And I don't really like quitting. So I've got to say the worst thing you Growth Academy people did to me was the rap. Like, I can see why that is in week 1 or whenever it was, week 1 or 2. How I did that, I hated every second of that. But then once I'd done that, I kind of thought nothing can be worse than this. And I'd be the one every week when they were setting the homework, is it going to be as bad as the rap? And actually, nothing was as bad as the rap. So, and I think when we had to get together at Katrina's, there was someone there who would quit because of the rap. And I was like, oh, you should have just got past that because it's fine after the rap. It's like after that. So I get why that's first. But for me, once I'd done that, I kind of thought, if I can do that. I think for me as well, a lot of my fears are like Katrina, what other people think. I do. What I've really taken from Sensi as well is the flipping all of this. And I hear myself now in my life outside of Sensi doing the whole mindset thing that I've known about, but because you share it and Laura and Lisa and everybody that I'm following now is sharing it all the time, it is going in my mind. And then I'm quoting it, whether it's to my teenagers, whether it's to my staff at work, whether it's the pupils I work with, I'm often trying to do that, trying to kind of flip that. But Growth Academy for me, I think personally, that's when I changed, because I had to do the rap. I had to post a selfie, I think, holding some wax bars or something, which I still use the same one because I don't really want to do another one. And the biggest one for me after the rap, because that didn't go anywhere public, so that was fine. It was just people in Sensi had seen that. But the one for me was going live on my personal Facebook, because I post a lot in my VIP group, but I still don't put masses on my personal Facebook. And I do a little bit, but a lot of the people are in my group anyway. But I do it, but I don't want to overkill on there either. That's just my personal choice. But when I did my live on there, it was so emotional. I was emotional delivering it, but the comments that I got back were unbelievable. And I think as a result of that, I have a lot of support, even if it's not buying Sensi. So many of my friends on Facebook, friends of friends will ask me about Sensi, how it's going. They might recommend it to their friends. And to me, that is just as important. They don't need to buy from me. And I never wanted my friends or my family to feel they need to buy from me, because that's not how I do Sensi. That's not how many of us do it, really, is it? We just share what we like and share things with each other. But for me, it was really important. And one of the best messages I got was from my daughter's football coach. So, and she doesn't play football now, and he is sort of a friend, but not, he's more friendly with my husband. And his message was just lovely. And I was like, actually, this is okay. And I do like that reassurance. I do like that feedback from people. So just to get, and then I got a lot of messages, but that made me think, actually, if I ever want to post on my personal Facebook, that's fine. And like Katrina said, if they don't like it, they can just come off my Facebook, can't they? And so I do think Growth Academy, those activities are so well thought up and so matched to those of us that are beginning or want to grow. Or I can see why people repeated it if they were losing their way, because it pushed us to do things that I would never have done. If I hadn't done those things, then I wouldn't have done them. Because I think as well, to me, the longer I wouldn't challenge myself to do those things, I probably never would. But once you've done it, you just think, well, that's fine. Like Katrina said, nothing awful happened. Only really good things happened as a result. So that kind of fires you on. I think as well for me, it was doing all of that, but parties. And Katrina said, I'd said I'd never do a party, but I was so blessed that my head teacher at work, because I was a bit worried about telling them at work, because I'm not doing this to, like Katrina, I love my job. This is a hobby for me, but it's a hobby that brings me a bit more than what I thought it would bring, but it's not to, I love my job. So she got wind that I was doing it. And then I was talking about well-being, because I do a lot with my staff about team for well-being. So she said she would like to do for the whole school a well-being evening, and would I bring in my sensei and she would provide the food and the snacks. And my instinct at first was like, oh my goodness, I never said I was going to do a face-to-face party. I'm going to do it at my school. That's the only place I don't like training in my day job. I will train it in any other setting but my own school. And I was like, oh my goodness, but I thought, I can't say no. She's giving me this opportunity. And you know what? It was brilliant. It was so well received. And I think because she made it optional for the staff that came, it's a little bit like tonight, you've chosen to come on. So the staff that came wanted to be there. Some of them came for the free food because she did an M&S buffet. So like, yeah, I got that. I was like, yeah, I'd be all over this. But it was just lovely. And I did very much authentically me. I did take sensei, but I just talked to them about why I was doing sensei, what had happened to me, how I felt, what I was enjoying about it, almost encouraging some of them to get hobbies and things. But as a result, I did increase my customer base. And again, I connected with staff that I haven't seen. So I was really lucky. I know I was really lucky. It was just meant to be at that time. And my head teacher was so supportive about it, and it was really well received. So that overcame. I've not done any other face-to-face parties just because the opportunity hasn't come up, but I would definitely do them now because I've done it. And I think that would be my hardest audience, to be fair, because I knew them all as well. And they know me in my day job. I think a party with people that are just coming for sensei would be easier, to be honest. So yeah, I think it is, for me, it's just overcoming those things. And once you've overcome them, they're fine. And I think sometimes when you're scared or nervous, your adrenaline kicks in and you do much better. It's almost better to have those. I do get nervous. I do get a bit scared, but that usually makes me do well. Whereas sometimes we feel of it as a negative emotion, but I don't feel it as a negative emotion. I feel it as actually that will help me do what I want to do and come across. Like, you wear a mask, don't you? And you can come across quite confident. So I think it's just going for it. And I know that's what I've definitely done. Just done it.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like, I still get nervous when I'm driving to go to a face-to-face party. That's because you care. And I think there's a few of us on tonight, a lot of us on have been consultants a good while. But if you have stopped feeling nervous, just like think to yourself now, like, do you ever still get nervous about anything in your business? If you don't, I would say you have fallen firmly into maintenance mode and you are not pushing yourself into growth mode. If you have been with Sensi a few years and you never feel nervous or you're never doing anything in your business that's making you feel a little bit scared, you are stuck in maintenance mode. And there's a really good graphic, which I share with my team group every few months, just to say to them, like, check yourself. Like, are you in maintenance mode or are you in growth mode? And it lists the different tasks. I'll share it after tonight because I do it myself sometimes. When I'm really sharing it with my team, I'm like, oof, I am slipping a little bit too much into maintenance mode here. And then you can get away with it for a few months, but then you'll suddenly start to think, where's my PRV? Where's my new customers? Because it's a cycle, isn't it? I think you just got to be filling the funnel up. So just remind yourself of that as you're going along. If you've been a consultant for a while, obviously we don't want to be doing something that scares the bejesus out of us every bloody day, because we wouldn't do it forever, would we? Things have got to get a bit more comfortable, but still be remembering, if you've been here a while, to set yourself a little challenge, like every few weeks, of something that feels just a little bit uncomfortable, because that probably means you're stepping into the growth zone. So as Jenny spoke about, she has done it really authentically, and I remember her being really scared to even tell your head teacher that you did Sensi, and then you couldn't believe it when you was like, oh my god, now I've got to do a face-to-face party because she's just offered me one, which I didn't really want. But she just showed up so authentically, and I do think when Jenny's when Jenny did her live from Growth Academy, it was honestly one of the most authentic lives I have ever watched. And I think that is why you got so many nice messages, because you didn't you didn't show up and try and talk in a different way to how you've seen other people talking on their lives. You just spoke as if somebody was sat in a room with you, really.
And I
And I
didn't
think
rap
that
it, did I? I didn't do it as a rap.
no, she certainly didn't wrap it. No, that's for true. That's for true. But it's really important that we think about this in our business. It's so easy to think you need to be perfect, to think, I'll post a photo from my home when I've decorated. I'll post a photo of that warmer in my house when I've bought the perfect plant to go near it. I'll go live next week when I've had my roots done. Or I'll do this when that. I'll do this when that's perfect. And life's not perfect, is it? And actually, if you always wait for it to be perfect, particularly if you're somebody who maybe wants to grow a bit of a team, if you always wait for things to be perfect before you take a photo in your home or go live or speak to people about it, the people are going to think, I could never do that because, like, that's always perfect. Like, and as I said, I was really low in confidence when I joined Sensei. I had spent most of my life with a bit of a mask on, if I'm honest. And I'd never left the house from being about 12 without makeup on, which is pretty sad, really. Now my customer group see me in a whole array of states, like literally with no makeup on, hair dye on, like you name it. If that's my pocket of time to go live or something crops in my head that I want to talk to them about, I'm just doing it. And that is the perfect way. All my people who know my family, they're bonkers, mainly my husband. Um, and normally, if I'm live or I'm voice noting my customers, something goes on. It just always breaks into the most insane noise and carnage. And my house is just a little bit bonkers. But that is authentically us. And my customers are invested in that, like really invested in that. They've sent my children get well gifts when my son was really, really ill. They ask about my children. My eldest son had an EHCP and went through specialist education, and the end of that went terribly wrong when he was placed in like inappropriate provisions and things like that. And my customers ask about him and if he's getting better, or message me and say, Jay looks like he's coping a bit better. How are things? Because I've not shown them perfect show home. I've not shown them all our private life. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is they get a bit of us because I don't wait for perfect. And that's what builds trust and that's what draws people into you. It's really important. And that is why I am the biggest advocate for a voice note. Honestly, if you want to network, because we're going to move on to parties a bit now, if you want to network and you want to try and book parties, be that WhatsApp or Facebook or in person, and I do try and party regularly, I have never, ever, ever booked a party off a Facebook post. And I don't think I've ever even managed to get one off a written message. I've certainly not got anything off that's been created on ChatGPT. My party bookings come from asking people in person or voice notes. You can't explain a party in a text without it either not being enough information or being overwhelming. You just need to actually speak to people, I think, about it. So mine get a crazy voice note normally whilst I'm doing something. Sometimes I say, Katrina, you're like, what are you doing? Cleaning, putting the pots away, can't make out half of that message, which my team say to me too. But I'll just like say, they'll say, oh, I love my order. And I'll just like send them a voice note saying, oh, we should do you a party. Like I do WhatsApp ones now too, if you want. You'll get some free and half price Scentsy. Don't overthink these things. Just be like really authentic with it and just show up as, to me, offering, again, I used to be scared of asking for parties, but offering a customer a party is offering them a wax deal. Like if you were doing a deal on wax, you'd be telling all your customers you were doing a deal on wax. See a party as that. When you're asking them to have a party, you're offering them a deal. You are offering them free stuff. So just say it real authentically. So Jenny has been having parties, like you said. You got the face-to-face one that you didn't really want, but it worked.
Yeah.
Can I offer you two half price items? Exactly, that's how Riri says it. But it's just what I mean by that is I do think some people think the person and everything needs to be so perfect that we're relying on ChatGPT way too much. And your posts are then creeping into your messages being ChatGPT created. So it's not just something that's on social media, you're messaging people something that when I get a message that's ChatGPT created, I know. And when I get an email at work, because professionals are using, they're not using chat. What is it? People are using Copilot. Professionals are using Copilot a lot. When I get an email, these are from people I've worked with for 8 years. I know what their work looks like. And now I'm getting these emails and these documents where I'm like, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing tool. I use it to advance my work and it speeds me up. But I'll say to my colleagues, look, I've used this data, this data, this data, and Copilot has helped me make this. I'm never going to say to someone, this is me, because you can spot it a mile off. So just, I know we strive for perfect and it's hard when we're feeling scared, but just be confident in yourself that you can just be authentic and use your own voice to explain to people about parties. So Jenny is very good at booking WhatsApp parties. I'm always like, how have you got another one? Tell me what you did. So how are you getting your WhatsApp party bookings?
Yeah, I feel at the beginning it was friends, but now what I'm finding is if I have a party afterwards, and I learned this from Katrina, because everything that I did really I learned from Katrina, is I then ask everybody who came to the party, why don't you do that? And I tell them what the host just earned. What I do as well is, if I'm honest, a lot of my hosts don't make enough for the host to unlock the host credits, but I've always got orders going through. So I always, whatever, get them something. So it isn't always like they wouldn't have got the full amount. A lot of mine don't want the half price because they actually don't want to spend. They just want something free for hosting the party. So that's fine. I often just do a 3 wax bar bundle and say, thank you for doing that party. We got some really good orders because I usually get around £200. So I think, well, that's 10%. I'll do them 3. And a lot of them ask me to do them a surprise one. So that's really nice because I pick them things and then they're really fussy. But yeah, I always sort of follow up with the people that were at the party, particularly the ones that have ordered, and said, look, you really enjoyed that. Why don't you do it? And that's where most of my parties have come from. Or if someone's umming and ahhing about a party, I invite them to a party that I'm doing. And I say, oh, I'm doing this party tomorrow. Why don't you hop on it and see if you'd like to do it? So a couple have come that way. I feel like Katrina's now saying that I've got parties and I haven't actually. I've got a few, because a lot of my friends who are in education say they want to do them in the summer holidays. I haven't told them it isn't the best time, school holidays, because when I did one in the Easter holidays, people ended up being on holiday and they're out of routine. And so I do need to sort of tap them up about, let's just think about people aren't in routines when it's not school holidays, even if they don't work in education, just because the kids are out. But yeah, mine really love, I've done Facebook Messenger ones and I've done WhatsApp. I also, in my WhatsApp group and in my Facebook group, have run them in there for everybody that's in them, so that again they can see what a party's like. And then they'll do it on the back of that. So I just am always saying to customers, oh, you could have got that cheaper if you'd had a party. Or did you see what I just gave so-and-so because they had a party? So I just constantly remind them, not in a pushy. A lot of it's face-to-face. Sometimes it's messages or a tag on to a message. Yeah, the FOMO, someone's just put that exactly. I was really lucky. One of my customers shared, she didn't have a party, but she'd done loads of referrals. So I said to her, look, I'm putting that through like you had a party, because you have just got me so many customers. And I think actually it would have qualified because the people had bought so much. So I treated it like it was, and she shared it on the group. So obviously I put underneath, this was the equivalent of a party. Look what she got. And she chose to have all the half price and the free. So it was a brilliant haul. And then all her customers, I obviously followed up. So to me, I don't mind asking people. I didn't like asking them before Growth Academy, but I think that's one of the challenges, that you have to ask so many people for a party, and I hated doing it. But now I really don't mind asking people about parties. I don't mind whether they say yes or no. A lot of people say they'll think about it, and I just make a note of that. And I do follow up with them, but I just ask all the time, just put it everywhere, and eventually I'll grind somebody down. And they'll be like, because I just say, what have you got to lose? I did one last week, and this was the first one that I didn't know the person. She just came on my group somehow randomly. She used to be a consultant. She's kept umming and ahhing. Didn't think it was going to work. I was messaging Katrina going, this is not going to happen. She'd put about 80 people in this group. And by the end of it, there was about 8. I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen, but let's just do it. And actually, I think I got, about £150 in the end on the night. There was a crazy lady telling me she was going to the toilet in the middle of it. And when I just, wait a minute. But it was fine. And then I took her all the stuff to deliver, and she's still umming and ahhing about whether she comes to be a consultant, and I don't have a team yet. So, so I just go for it. To me, I see it doesn't matter. If not many come on, I just go with what happens.
I love that, inviting them to another party that you're doing. I might try that. I think some people just need to see it, don't they, to know what they're sort of in there.
They don't know what you talk. It is a bit weird, isn't it? It's like, how can it be interactive? But one of the people, she always comes to my parties, and she's gonna. But she always buys. She comes to every party that I'm having nearly, but she always buys. So I think she'll be my next booking. She might do it at the end of party.
She must just love the parties.
She does. She loves the interactive, and she loves the prizes. And I only do like scent circles or samples. I don't like, but she loves it.
So, yeah, as I said, Jenny, I know you've always put yourself down thinking, I don't do that many parties, but you do actually. In comparison, the way you're finding WhatsApp parties is really, really impressive. And similarly to Jenny, I do try to party a lot, which I know lots of you know. But actually, for me, if I always think about back to basics, for me personally, my networking is my borrow bag, and has always been my borrow bag. I joined in 2021, and there was still some like COVID restrictions knocking about around then. And I wanted to ask in the chat, be honest, guys, how regularly each week or month, or do you go months? How regularly do you invest some time in trying to get your borrow bag booked out? So if you pop that in the chat whilst I talk about it. So the reason I asked that question is, you all know I'm a bit of a geek, or you would know if you've ever watched me for my to-do lists. But I make sure, well done, Lisa, she's got all the time free currently. So I have 2 borrow bags, and I make sure they are always at least 2 days of the week that is on a to-do list, book my borrow bag, okay? Every single week of the year, pretty much, because then if it's written on the list, it will just remind me that I've got to do it. I've got to do it, because I pretty much aim for both my bags to be out. I like them to be out all month, really. If they have been home longer than a week, I've got the ump, and that's 5 years in. And it's not easy. It's not easy to keep your borrow bag out that much when you've been doing it that long. The reason that it's so important is, it's true what they say. Smells under noses sell. They really, really do. And it doesn't need to always be to new people, but to constantly talk about your borrow bag makes people think like, oh, maybe I do need a sniff. So when I'm dropping it off, I'm always on my stories. I'm always putting it in my group. I'm putting it in my customer chat, like, oh, look, this lucky person's getting the smell pots. You've not got smell pots today. And then even older customers start to think, oh, maybe I do need a fresh whiff. Maybe I can't remember what the smells are. And it will get you orders. They really do get you orders. But if the borrow bag's out, and then you are somebody who struggles to get it booked, like, out again, if I've not got another booking for that bag, I'm always thinking, right, I need to get that person to keep it and get it to somebody else for me. Get people to work for you. So I always have the catalogue in the bag. I always have a bit of join flyers in there, and referrals. Make sure you've got the referral in, because if you've not found another booking for that bag, and I put multiples of these things in, multiple catalogues in, the easiest thing to do is just go to that person who's got the bag and ask them if they want to take it to work. Does your neighbour want it? Does your mum want it? Actually, and what I sometimes say is, actually, something's come up tomorrow and I can't come back, but if you want to give it to your neighbour, if they order, you're going to get a freebie. So then they're sort of thinking, oh, well, she can't come back. I'm not asking, I'm almost saying, like, if you do us a favour though, maybe pop it, see if your neighbour wants it, because I can't come back for it till Saturday. And I just frame it that way. Or if I share in community groups every weekend about sample packs, but my aim is to get the borrow bag. But people will reply to you about a sample pack over a commitment to a borrow bag. Then it starts the conversation. I say, of course, yeah, fill in my job form, give us your address, I'll get it out in the post. And then I just say to them, oh, you live right near my work. Oh, you're not far from me. I'll just drop you the borrow bag. Don't actually ask them if they want it. I just sort of say, oh, perfect. Look at you're close. I'll bring you the borrow bag instead. It's just about being a bit like confident in that actually what you're giving them is better because it is better than a sample pack and it helps you. So that's sort of a quick whistle stop tour, but I think the borrow bags get so forgotten about and they're just like honestly, I just think they're just amazing. But I downsized mine massively. Like, yeah, it used to have everything in. It's too much. Don't overwhelm people. For me, they have a warmer, a bit of wax, and some smell pots and a catalogue. Sometimes clothesline Scentsy Fresh because if you put that in, you tend to sell it. But just strip them back, really strip them back, make them more simple would be my tip for that. And then if you want people to be joining your team, make sure there's joining information in it. If you want people to be passing it on, make sure there's referral things because then it just leads into the conversation. Did you see the referral? Why don't you take it to work? And that bag parties can be really brilliant if you get people to take them to work. You've been doing loads of bag parties as well, haven't you, Jenny?
Yeah, because obviously I copy Katrina, so I just like copy her, I magpie her, and then I maybe put my own slant on it, which is what she said I do. So I do really similar to Katrina, but this month has been working quite well for me. I did as my I always have a monthly competition in my group, and I did if people would pass the bag on to somebody, they got a point for getting me a new nose, and then if that person ordered, they got 4 more entries. That's worked really well. I'm a little bit like Katrina. I've got a smaller bag, but I've also got a bit of a bigger one. And I found putting a flower in has really worked. I am very OCD. So because I do visuals at work, I have a visual about how to pack the flower up and how to set it up so that it doesn't spill everywhere. But yeah, I have a flower in each of my bags. And that the other day, the bag went out and someone ordered 3 flowers from having my bag. And also what I do with flowers, I try and put them places. So my husband put one at his reception at work. It's been there for months and I'm still getting people messaging me for it because it still smells. I think flowers are really good to have out. I do staff room borrow bags where I set up a warmer in a staff room on a timer plug because I'm obsessed with timer plugs now and I promote that with my customer group, but it works really well in a staff room, so it just comes on at the peak rush times in the staff room. And then with my cards and QR codes, that's been successful in some. I have a little bit of a theory on that. It depends who puts it in the staff room because we all know what school staff rooms are like. If the person puts it in that everybody like fusses around, I get loads of orders. Some of the others don't get any orders. So I think it does depend who puts it in for me. But yeah, I've just really tried to, because I follow Katrina and she's right, I go back to some of my customers that were buying from me. I know I've only been doing it 6 months, but my friends that at the beginning, because we've changed the scents, I've got the borrow bag back to them and they've ordered again. Now I've got them out. It's very rare a borrow bag goes out and you don't get something. So yeah, I am the same. I'm stressing at the moment because this person at work's taking it and she just keeps forgetting to bring it back. But luckily, because I've got 2, at least I know my other one can keep going out. Because I do leave mine probably a little bit longer because sometimes it just doesn't fit in with me picking them up. And I'm just like, I've got 2, it's fine. And I just think maybe the longer they've had it, the more they'll fall in love with it. And then the more they'll place an order. So yeah, I probably do leave mine a bit longer, but yeah, I definitely get things out as much as I can. And that's been working for me.
I love that timer plug. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, I've got them all over, smart plugs all over the house in all my warmers now. And I'm telling everybody this. I even put the link to which one's on Amazon I'd got in my customer group the other day. So then they'll use more wax as well. That's my theory, because they can put it on more.
I love that. That's really good. So I think we've both shared that we're not doing anything revolutionary. You will not have heard anything new tonight. But what we both do is we both put our own spin on it and do it authentically. We're both still making ourselves uncomfortable. And we're just being really, really consistent with it. But I wanted to set a little bit of a challenge because people will know this is the bugbear of mine. If we're consuming training, we've got to be taking something away from it. And you might take, like I've definitely taken a few things Jenny shared there, I've written them down. But I wanted to set everyone a challenge. Even if you're on here as a leader, you hopefully will be doing these things anyway, but it's always good for us all to do things together, taking the action. You're right, Amber. So hopefully you've got pen and paper. If not, I will pop it in the groups. I'll put it in Squad and Glitter Sparkle what people's challenges are. But over the next 5 days, I'm setting everyone a challenge. Nothing terrible is going to happen if you don't do it. So if you really, really don't want to do it, you don't have to. But hopefully you've listened to everything we've said about being scared and nobody dying. So you are going to go live once in the next 5 days. Hopefully nobody jumps off the Zoom immediately that I've said that. You are going to ask a minimum of 3 people to host. Might be WhatsApp, might be a borrow bag party, might be face-to-face party, but a minimum of 3. Obviously more will be better. You are going to approach, we didn't actually talk about this, but what Jenny did do when she first joined was she approached lots of businesses. So she even messaged me one day, she was waiting in the dentist, and she was like, I've just had an idea waiting in the dentist. I've found all these dentists' email addresses and emailed them about the quad.
I didn't buy one, but my hairdresser did, didn't she? When I told her my sad story that the doll ignored me, she bought one.
Yeah, so Jenny got no reply from the dentist, so she went and moaned to a hairdresser that she sent all these emails and everybody ignored her, and she took the quad and bought one.
Yeah, so that was all right. That was a win. Yeah.
So you're going to approach one business, and you could think of all sorts of businesses. I know Jenny's worked with somebody else in network markets in travel, and she bought Travelers Circles, or you gifted her some, and they went.
She bought a lot of those. Yeah, puts them with the tickets when she sends them out to her customers.
So you can link up with other people doing similar things. So go live once, ask a minimum 3 people to host, approach a minimum 1 business in the next 5 days and see if they would like you borrow a bag, or if there's any way you guys can strike up a partnership. Speak to, this one's for me as well, 5 new people about Scentsy. Even if you've been here 9 years, there will be 5 people that you've never spoken to about Scentsy. It can be face to face. You might see them in a shop, you might see them in the street, you might have a look through your phone book and think, who's that person you've always hovered over and thought, oh no, I won't ask them. But speak to 5 brand new people, could be 1 a day, about Scentsy, and you're going to try and get 2 borrow bag bookings.
If you do a wrap.
No, I don't need to do a wrap. If you do those things, you will sell Scentsy in the next 5 days. Absolutely. And you will probably get new customers. You might even get a teamer. You never know what those conversations will lead into. But just remember, being brave in business doesn't mean not being scared, because we've spoke about that. It means showing up anyway. You will still feel scared. And if you never feel scared, you've got really too comfortable, I would say. So I am going to share that growth and maintenance picture I spoke about. And if you've got any visuals from your borrow bag, Jenny, that
yes, I've made them all on Canva. So yeah, I will, because I've got instructions. You're going to regret that, because it's like the whole list and everything they've got to do. But yeah, I'll share it.
No, they sound fab. The next huddle is going to be with Georgie. I don't know what she's talking about. Do you, Lisa? Or is it to be confirmed? So it's going to be with Georgie. Date for your diary on the 3rd of June. I think it's an evening one like this, but again, she will confirm. And yeah, just thank you so much for joining me, Jenny. Because I know I pushed you a little bit out of your comfort zone asking you to do this as well. I'll leave you alone for a few weeks now. Stop. Feel like the bear's coming. And that's it from us, Lisa. If you